Islanders goalie Ilya Sorokin has been named a finalist for the Vezina Trophy as the best goalie in the NHL. But what will that mean for the Islanders' ability to sign him to a contract extension? We've got that and a lot more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
You're Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We have got a lot to get to on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings throughout this important offseason, from trade rumors, free agency, the draft, hirings, firings. If it's happening to your New York Islanders, we'll have it covered for you here on the Locked On Islanders podcasts. And want to just thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. And now you can follow us and find us on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search for Locked On Islanders. So, good news and bad news. The good news is that Ilya Sorokin has been named one of the 3 Vezina Trophy finalists for the top goalie in the National Hockey League. Not a surprise. We've mentioned on the show that, this is something that he definitely deserves. And when you look at it, you could see why. The numbers are there. Among qualified goalies, 6th in the league with a 2.34 goals against average, 3rd in the league with a .924 save percentage, led the league in shutouts with 6. And keep in mind, with the save percentage and the goals against average, that Ilya Sorokin played a lot more games than the other players who were nominally ahead of him. He played in 62 games, 60 of them were starts, and yet, and this I think has a lot more to do with the team around Ilya Sorokin, he was 9th in the league in wins with 31, and that, again, to me, is because the Islanders were 22nd in the league in goals scored, had more defensive breakdowns this year under Lane Lambert, in part because of some inexperience on the blue line and the regression of Noah Dobson, the size limitations of Sebastian Aho, the injury to Adam Pelech. I mean, there are a lot of reasons that you could set forth as to why, the goals against numbers were up a little bit as for the team. And I think part of it is also Lane Lambert's switch to have the defense get a little bit more involved offensively. That was the case, especially earlier in the season. And, when you take those chances, more quality opportunities to score go the other way. But make no mistake about it. 1st in shutouts, 6th in goals against average, 3rd in save percentage, and, save percentage above expected, also, kind of really high in that particular department. So, not at all a surprise that Sorokin is going. He was an all-star this year at the All-Star game, and deservedly so, and then, ends up with the Vezina finalists. The other 2 people who are nominated, Connor Hellebuyck of Winnipeg, and then Linus Ullmark of Boston. And look, I'm not going to kid anybody here. Linus Ullmark deserves to win the award and will win the award. He led the league in wins, number one in goals against average, number one in save percentage. That is, pretty much a triple crown for goalies. So, he is going to be the winner, but let's not kid ourselves that, this is a guy in Sorokin who deserves the honor. And, believe it or not, right now, Ilya Sorokin, with the 6 shutouts he had this year, is tied for third in Islanders history with 16 career shutouts. And this is his third year in the NHL. Rick DiPietro also with 16. Billy Smith with 22. Who do you think is the Islanders' all-time shutout leader? If you said Chico Resch, you got that one right. But, got to give a lot of credit to Sorokin. And there were so many great memories this year. Not only did he make so many saves, but so many of them were dramatic. And, the two that stand out were the paddle saves, one against Artemi Panarin at Madison Square Garden, one against the Penguins in February on Jake Gunsel, where, he just sticks out the paddle and makes an acrobatic dive and manages to stop a shot on what looks like an open net. He has that drama that just makes it all that exciting, more exciting to watch him play. And he is usually very positionally sound, solid, consistent in the net. And I think his ability to keep an even keel emotionally clearly rubs off on the New York Islanders and is something that benefits this team game in and game out. And look, I've said this on the show countless times. The New York Islanders do not even come close to making the playoffs without Ilya Sorokin and the great performance he put forth this season. When you are 30th in the league on the power play and 22nd in the league in goals scored, you better have a really good team defense and goaltender. And the Islanders certainly did. And this team, without Ilya Sorokin, they're probably battling, Columbus for 7th place or 8th place in this division, maybe fighting Philadelphia. I mean, look, Varley can probably still be solid in goal, but what I'm saying is that Ilya Sorokin, his goals against average, more than a third of a goal a game better. His save percentage, .011 better. 4 more shutouts. Overall, Varley is good, but Sorokin is elite. And congratulations to him on a well-deserved honor for now being one of the 3 Vezina Trophy finalists for the New York Islanders. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he is not the only Islander to get, nominated for an award. Also, Anders Lee named the Islanders nominee for the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. It's given for leadership quality, humanitarian contributions to the community. So congratulations to Anders Lee on that. But, that's one where all 32 teams are going to nominate somebody. But to be one of the 3 finalists for the Vezina, that is special. And congratulations to Ilya Sorokin on a well-deserved honor. So as I said at the top of the show, that was the good news. Well, coming up next, the bad news about Ilya Sorokin being named a Vezina Trophy finalist. Will this make it harder for the Islanders to sign him to a new contract? We'll have that plus a lot more still to come on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. Well, it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop at eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit available to U.S. customers only. Eligible items, exclusions apply. So, yeah, Vezina Trophy finalist. Congratulations to Ilya Sorokin. But we also know this. The New York Islanders need to re-sign Ilya Sorokin. This year is the final year of his contract. He has a cap hit of $4 million. Once we get to July 1st, the Islanders will be able, when the new league year starts, the Islanders will be able to sign him to an extension. Has to be the final year of the contract to sign the extension. So over the summer, whether it's Lou Lamoriello or somebody else who succeeds him, we still are waiting on that, folks. But the Islanders really want to sign him. And look, we now look at that horrible, horrible cap page here at Cap Friendly. And we know that starting next year, Matthew Barzal, $9.15 million, $8.5 million for Bo Horvat, $7 million for Anders Lee, $6 million for Brock Nelson, $5 million each as of now for JG Pageau, for Josh Bailey, and Kyle Palmieri. $6.15 million for Ryan Pollock, $5.75 million for Adam Pelech. Those are the big contracts out there, and not many of them are going away the following year because this team has really handed out some rough contracts this year, over the years, and there is a cap squeeze, and we've talked about that throughout whenever we've talked about trying to bring in that puck-moving defenseman or the goal scorer like Alex DeBrincat, which we discussed every dayers know on yesterday's show. So you got to have room under your cap to sign Ilya Sorokin. And what will it take? Well, here's the drill. These are the big goalie contracts. Andrei Vasilevsky, couple of years younger. Roughly the same age, really, as Sorokin. He has a cap hit of $9.5 million a year. Signed an 8-year deal back in 2019. He's paid off. He's won a couple of cups. He did live up to that contract. You got Sergei Bobrovsky earning $10 million a year on average with the cap hit. And Bobrovsky, his team, still in it, still ahead in their series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, hoping one win away as of the time of this recording from getting to the Eastern Conference Final. Has Bobrovsky lived up to that $10 million contract? Not always, but he's certainly played well enough to deserve to be one of the better paid goalies in the NHL. And then Carey Price, who is still, for another year or two, he has an annual cap hit of $10.5 million. So, the other thing about these deals, 7 years for Bobrovsky, 8 for Price, 8 for Vasilevsky, these are the long-term deals. And you always run the risk with any position, but I think especially with goalies, because of the wear and tear, the butterfly, the style that modern goalies play leads to a lot of hip injuries and knee injuries. You run the risk that for part of a year or even a full year, injuries may cause problems. And then again, Sorokin's 27, going on 28 by the time this contract kicks in. You sign him to an 8-year deal, that puts him at 36. So, it's risky, and you also run the risk of the end of the contract being, not getting great returns. So I think adding the Vezina Trophy finalist to Sorokin's name does give him a little bit more leverage, but let's cut to the chase, okay? Let's basically cut to the chase. He is the Islanders' best player right now. He was the best player before he got the nomination as a finalist. He'll be the best player after. And the Islanders, if they want to keep playing the style of hockey that they've been playing, they need an elite goaltender. And if you want to keep the white whale, as he is known, you have to pony up. And I'm going to say $8.5, $9.5 million a year isn't out of the range of possibility. And to make it worse, every year the salary cap goes up. Every year players' salaries goes up. And I think the important thing to realize is that the Islanders are better off signing Ilya Sorokin this offseason. The cap may go up $3 or $4 million next year. That helps. But when the cap goes up, the salary numbers will go up. And salaries don't go down. They may flatten, like when the cap flattened, but they still go up a little bit. And you wait a year, you risk free agency, and you risk the fact that the going rate for a goaltender is only going to be higher. I don't want to see that. You want to lock up Ilya Sorokin this summer, sign him to that extension, keep the rates a little bit lower because you didn't wait and the price doesn't go up, and just lock him in. And look, the good news is Sorokin has indicated he's happy here and he enjoys Long Island. And, his agent, Dan Milstein, was quoted in The Athletic, and this is great agent speak. Just listen to this. If the adequate offer is made, I'm sure he would seriously consider staying. There's no red flags that he's not going to like it with the Islanders. In the end, obviously, the contract has to make sense. So, look, Sorokin has always said he's happy here. His quote at Getaway Day, I'm always open to an extension, but I have one more year. I never think about contracts. Yes, the Islanders are very, very great for me. I love this place, the people around me. He loves having Varley here. I think it definitely helps that in Brooklyn, there is a large Russian-speaking population. This is a good place for Ilya Sorokin to play, but now there has to be that meeting of the minds where the Islanders and Sorokin get on the same page and finalize the deal, and hopefully that will happen this off season, this summer. You wait, and the price is only going to go up, and that is not what the Islanders want to see. All right, we have got more to discuss on today's show. We will review the season of Zach Parise. How did he do this season? Did he meet expectations? What did he do well? What did he do poorly? What are the chances he is back with the Islanders? Plus, another goalie is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Let's see if you can guess who that is. And he is still active in the NHL, although he is no longer an Islander. We've got all that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. So we continue our player-by-player look at the New York Islanders, and we're going to carry this throughout the offseason. Everydayers, we've already talked about Anders Lee and Scott Mayfield and Pierre Engvall and Ross Johnston. So today we add Zach Parise to the list. Parise, 38 years old, going to be 39 at the end of July. Played for the league minimum, $750,000 a year. Third on the team with 21 goals, 34 points, played in all 82 games, and was a +7, only 24 penalty minutes this year. Did contribute on the power play, 3 power play goals, 2 shorthanded goals. Can also kill things off. On the PK, had a solid 11.5% shooting percentage, which is, by the way, his career number. So that aspect not slowing down. 182 shots on goal, 275 shots attempted. Those numbers up significantly over last year. And the thing about Parise, you can move him up and down the lineup. He could play on the first line for a couple of games. Not saying he's a good fit there at this stage in his career, but he knows what to do and how to play offensive hockey. You can put him on the second, third, even the fourth line if you need him. He can kill penalties. He can get power play time. He's good in the corners. He's smart. His hockey IQ and his attention to detail is what keeps him playing here at the age of 38. Now, at Getaway Day, Parise said he wanted some time to figure out whether or not he will come back and play another year. He's played 18 seasons since making his NHL debut in 2005 with the New Jersey Devils. And look, he is a legacy for this team. He is a quiet leader on this team. His father, J.P. Parise, played for the Islanders back in the mid to late 70s, so that makes him the legacy. He does things right. If you're Hudson Fashion or you're Simon Holmstrom and you want to know what it takes to be an NHL player, you watch Zach Parise. You learn how he approaches the game, practice, drills, morning skates. You can learn so much from watching Zach Parise. So will he be back next year? Parise said he needed some time to think about it. He also said if he comes back, he'll be with the Islanders or he won't be coming back at all. I think that makes sense, and I'll take it a step further. If in the event that Zach Parise wants to return and Lou Lamoriello is back as Islanders GM, I'm 95% sure, maybe more, that Zach Parise will sign another contract. And if he's willing to play for the NHL minimum again at $750,000, I see no reason why you shouldn't sign him, because he is still able to play at a consistent level and be a leader. And look, Father Time is undefeated. There will be a point where he struggles and doesn't play as well, but it's not going to be because he isn't doing things right. A minor disappointment, no points in the 6 playoff games for Zach Parise. He was a -2 in the series. But again, he was concentrating more on that third line of trying to shut down the offense of the Hurricanes rather than produce goals. 5 block shots in the Islanders win in Game 5 for a forward, which is off the charts incredible, and 8 block shots in 6 playoff games. He's giving you ice time right now, still playing 16-plus minutes a game. I see no reason not to bring him back if he's willing to do it at the league minimum, and he can afford to do that, mainly because the buyout that the Minnesota Wild gave him before he joined the Islanders still pays him a heck of a lot of money. All right, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Saturday is the 38th birthday of former Islanders goalie Jaroslav Halak, the Slovakian native from Bratislava, drafted by the Canadiens in the 9th round back in 2003. Played his first NHL game for Montreal in 06-07, then played for the Blues, the Capitals, and then the Islanders, who he joined in 2014-2015, stayed with the team through 2017-2018, then played for Boston, Vancouver, and last year for the New York Rangers. That's what they're called. At this point, 38 years old, still a pretty good backup in this league, and he had some good moments with the Islanders. His best year with the Isles, probably 2014-2015, and we look at one of his better games with the Isles, first round of the playoffs, Game 6 at the Nassau Coliseum. Last game at the Nassau Coliseum the first time around before the renovations and the trip to Brooklyn and then the return. Islanders down in the series 3-2, season on the line, and they end up beating the Capitals 3-1 before 16,170 fans at the Coliseum. How good was Jaro Halak? 38 saves in 39 shots. Islanders win the hockey game 3-1. Unfortunately, they lose Game 7 in Washington 2-1, and the season ended. But for Jaro Halak, just some solid goaltending. Goals against average 243, 230, and 280 in his first 3 seasons with the Islanders. He really was consistent for the team when he played there, and that is definitely what you need from a goalie. I want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers will be back Monday, and Monday we will take a look at Kyle Palmieri's season. How did he do? Good, bad, meet expectations, not meet expectations, and what will his role be if he returns to the Islanders next year? We'll have all of that on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.